Listen, I do a lot of work with addicts, and it's hard for an addict to walk in and be early in their sobriety and even contemplate having gratitude for the addiction, or even contemplate seeing the addiction as just a way that, as just a part of them that's been working really hard to put out the fire of big feelings. Because there's so much shame, there's so much blame, there's so much chaos that goes around the perception of an addict. Addicts are traumatized humans. Addicts are people who have experienced adverse situations as children and did not have the resources or the support to process those big experiences. And in the lack of security and safety and love and respect that a child may need in those adverse moments in time, they were left alone with those big feelings. And so, of course, that individual, that child, would do whatever it took to put out that fire.
Gabrielle Bernstein, a role model for spiritual seekers.
Welcome back to Dear Gabby. Welcome back to the show. This is an episode that was recorded backwards. We went in with a different topic, and then everyone started coming in with questions related to addiction. And sometimes my guests will reveal to me what the episode needs to be. And so here we are. This is an episode on addiction. I've just come off of a 5-day training in a level 2 internal family systems therapy training on addiction. And as someone who's not a therapist in that training, a lot of my addictive parts started coming up. The parts of me that want to control everything and the parts of me that, just feel inadequate or not good enough. And the training in itself actually taught me so much about my addictive nature, not just from what I learned, but from how I experienced it. And what I took away from this 5 days and the witnessing of my experience of my 17 years of sobriety, and then being asked to look at it from a different lens, what I can say that I really came through with is a greater respect for the part of me that was addicted, or the part of me that still has addictive patterns or behaviors. Even though they may be socially acceptable addictive patterns today, they still are present. And the shift that I was able to make by witnessing my addiction as a form of protection, as a firefighter, as they say in IFS, the part of me that was going to do whatever it took to put out the fire of the impermissible trauma, terror, discomfort, sadness, fear of my childhood, the feelings of being inadequate, the feelings of being unlovable, the feelings of not having a safe environment. I was going to do whatever it took to put that fire out and manage it through all the workaholism, improving myself, and then put the fire out through the cocaine addiction, alcoholism, and other forms of drug use. And so that addiction now, 17 years later, being able to look back at my 25-year-old self, totally addicted to cocaine and alcohol, completely disconnected, disembodied, unwell. I can look back and I can actually, with a lot of compassion, with a lot of love, with a lot of respect, say thank you to that part of me for working so hard to try to numb out, put the fire out on those impermissible feelings. And so it's hard for addicts. Listen, I do a lot of work with addicts, and it's hard for an addict to walk in and be early in their sobriety and even contemplate having gratitude for the addiction, or even contemplate seeing the addiction as just a way that, as just a part of them that's been working really hard to put out the fire of big feelings. Because there's so much shame, there's so much blame, there's so much chaos that goes around the perception of an addict. Addicts are traumatized humans. Addicts are people who have experienced adverse situations as children and did not have the resources or the support to process those big experiences. And in the lack of security and safety and love and respect that a child may need in those adverse moments in time, they were left alone with those big feelings. And so, of course, that individual, that child, would do whatever it took to put out that fire. And that fire gets put out with people pleasing. That fire gets put out with codependent behavior. That fire gets put out, temporarily put out, with a drug addiction or food addiction or love addiction or porn addiction or gaming addiction. You just name it, whatever it takes to push down the impermissible feelings. And so if you're someone who's listening and struggling with addiction, or is a loved one and family member of an addict, or is in some way, shape, or form in the desire to get clean and sober of whatever it is that you're addicted to, I want you to open up the possibility right now to witness that part of you that's addicted through the lens of compassion and through the lens of love. How different would you feel about your addiction if you could see it as a way of protecting you, see it as a part of you that's been working really hard to keep you from feeling bigger feelings? And then the other thing that I really took from the training this week that I never really had seen before was just having a different relationship to abstinence. And that actually comes up on the show today, is that sometimes when abstinence is forced or pushed, or you're white knuckling it, trying to stay clean and sober every single day, but you don't have the spiritual or the emotional support or the therapeutic support, that forcing and pushing is just another way of shaming the part of you that's been so hard at work trying to put out the fire. And I believe in abstinence, but I believe abstinence works when there's willingness. And so if you're suffering and you're still listening, there's willingness. If you press play on this episode, there's a willingness. If you're even listening and a follower of Dear Gabby, there's a willingness. And so the first step in our recovery, whatever it may be, to the abuse of any form of substance, any drug of choice, is the willingness, the desire to know more, the desire to heal more, and the desire to go deeper into the parts of ourselves that need more tending to. And listen, a lot comes up when we have these kinds of conversations. And on today's show, what happened was really, I think, a through line of acceptance. Acceptance that we have this addictive part of us that's up and it's working hard and it's really creating chaos, and that's what it's been needing to do. Looking at that part of us with extreme respect and, in some cases, even gratitude for the hard work that it has put into keeping us from feeling deeper wounds. Now, is it sustainable? No, because often many forms of addiction will take our life, they'll take our careers, they'll take our safety. So we can't carry on in those behaviors in a safe way. And there's more for us. We want more. We want to feel more. We want to connect more. We want to heal more. And often when we remove those drugs of choice, we have some space to start to do deeper therapeutic work or sober recovery work or whatever form of that recovery that can come through for you. But we have to begin by witnessing our addiction through that lens of love. And again, I think that could be hard for people. There might be people that are like, no, I need to hate my addiction. It's too much. I gotta judge it and keep it away because it's not done anything good for me. And that's okay. I get that. I totally get that. But when you listen to this show, I want you to feel my acceptance, because as a sober woman who has made the commitment to stay clean and sober now for nearly 2 decades, I really want you to feel my acceptance and my love and compassion for the parts of you that have been so addicted, because they've been working really hard. And maybe that subtle shift gives you the bravery to start to become a little bit more curious about the addictive patterns that are inside of you. Maybe it gives you the opportunity to just be a little bit more curious about the support that's out there for you. That curiosity is all I really want to spark today, because we need that baseline of safety in order to become curious. And so the baseline of safety starts with the conversations that we have today on this show, the conversations of acceptance, the conversations of just noticing and witnessing without any judgment and listening to what those addicted parts of us need to say. And that's all we need to do today. That's enough. That's more than enough. So I ask you now, if you keep listening, to open your heart and your mind to just witness what's up for you. Witness your own patterns, witness your own experiences, witness how you might be putting out the fire. And just open your mind today to be the witness. That's all I'm going to ask. It's a big show, but it's a really important topic. So this is a time when we really need to be having a new perspective of our addictive patterns, because fighting against them, judging them, trying to push them down, that's not going to be sustainable, guys. So opening our hearts today to seeing our addictive patterns through that lens of acceptance and compassion and love, and see what miracles come through. Stay open and listen. First things first, congratulations on your desire to get clean and sober. Congratulations on your willingness to keep coming back to sobriety. And a huge acknowledgement right now for your grace. Because when you said, oh, I've had these slip-ups, but I'm grateful for them because they've revealed to me that I don't want to do that. I just want to really acknowledge that instead of judging yourself or attacking yourself or shaming yourself for having those slip-ups, you actually can see those moments of relapse as something great. You can say, oh yeah, I don't want that. You can see it with choice. You can see it with acceptance. You can see it with gratitude. And so first things first, you are on the right track, baby. I am so proud of you. And the key to sobriety, such a huge part of early sobriety, is our bravery and our courage to see ourselves through the lens of grace. And so right now, there's a lot of advice that the woman sitting before you with 17 years of sobriety and just coming off of a IFS addiction training, and I have so much Gabby advice that I want to give, but instead of advising you, I just want to reflect back to you how perfect your journey already is. And you've brought up issues of trust. Yeah, baby. We get clean and sober doesn't mean you get clean. As Gabrielle Bernstein says it perfectly. You stop drinking and then you get sober. So you've put down the drink and the drug and you've created space. But now sobriety happens. Now you are on a journey of really undoing the behaviors and the patterns that have kept you in the perpetual need to run and hide. And so this journey of recovery begins with abstinence in your case, but that's actually really just a notch on the steps that we take to really heal. And so what you're doing in your bravery and your courage and your grace that you're seeing yourself through is all perfect right here, right now. And I want you to just hear me when I say, stick around for the miracles. So if you have this momentum right now and you have this sobriety, there's no accident, Anita, that you got on Dear Gabby to just hear me reflect back to you the extreme greatness of all that you've expressed to me today. And also to really accept that the trust issues and the deeper stuff, lady, that's going to take some time. Be patient. Take it one step at a time. If you've lost your friends from before you were sober, I get it. All my friends from my past, from my early days of using, are completely released in my life. No more, gone. I had one friend that I kept from my early days of using. And so that's completely normal too. And so instead of being your teacher today, I'm just going to be like your big sister. And I'm just going to suggest that you just do whatever it takes to stay committed one day at a time. And you just keep noticing what you notice and showing up for your inner world and showing up for your inner healing in whatever form that comes. I'm going to send you a copy of Happy Days. I really hope that will support you and help you really strengthen that journey inward. And I'm proud of you. That's what I wanted to let you know today. If you like this video and you want to get more Gabby, check out the next one right over here.